So you think new information is what you need to accomplish your goals in real estate? Well, my name's Chad Leonberg, and I'm going to dive into why that's just not really the case. So this was shared with me, and it's something I found really impactful. And basically, there's three aspects of the business. There's psychology, methodology, and technology. So here's the thing. I've gotten to witness, I've run a successful team. We've sold 1,000 homes in the last 10 years. I've coached some friends to build some great teams, and I've definitely been a part of masterminds and great platform and Reside that we get to witness a lot of great teams. I've helped a ton of real estate agents grow and scale their business. So what I've found is almost everyone has the technology. If you're at any major brokerage, and even if you're not, even if you're a small brokerage, Follow Up Boss, for example, it's around $70 a month with an extra 40 for the dialers, around $100 a month. There's lots of great CRMs out there that you can use. There's so many great IDX tools, and even what's included with your MLS. I mean, you have the technology. You have the technology that you have right now in your pocket as a real estate agent. You're capable. Methodology, you know what it takes. For example, I might be breaking this down more rudimentary for you, but I think we all know open houses. If you do an open house, on average, let's say 5 people come in. Okay, some none will come in, some 20 will come in. So let's say on average, 5 come in. Well, wouldn't it be fair to say that if 20 came into one, you could set an appointment with one of those 20? You could have a coffee meeting or a meeting at their house with 1 out of 20. So if we're saying 5 people on average come in, 1 out of 20 you can set an appointment with, and maybe you need 2 appointments to convert someone. Well, check this math. So 5 people come in on average on an open house. You do 4 a week. Oh, and I can't do 4. Well, Wednesday 6 to 8, Saturday 11 to 1, Sunday 11 to 1 and 1 to 3, or 11 to 1 and 2 to 4 if you need an hour to drive. You've just done 4 open houses. If you've done those 4, and we've had 5 on average come in, that would give you 20 people. So you should be able to set an appointment with 1. But we need 2 appointments to get a sale. Well, 2 weeks and you get a sale. That sounds like 24 sales per year when you do the math. So that's just an example through open houses, and of course metrics can be different, and but you pick the method. I've talked about this a lot. Every lead source works, cold calling works, door knocking works, internet leads work. They all work. You just have to find your math equation, rinse and repeat, and you can reduce the amount it takes as you get more skilled. But ultimately, we know what we have to do. We know what we have to do every day. We know that we have to have conversations with human beings about real estate. So we have the technology, we have the methodology. What a lot of us are missing and lacking and need to be reminded of, because it's not something that you just get one and done, is the psychology. The psychology is the biggest needle mover in this game, because that's what's missing. That's what's missing in most real estate agents' businesses that I've dove into, including my own. And we need to be constantly reminded of the things that get us in the right frame of mind. And for example, you might have judgments. I was speaking with an agent the other day, and she had said, "I'm not good at calling strangers." Well, first of all, it's a judgment. And I asked, how would I know? How many calls have you made this week to strangers? The answer was 0. I've sent some texts and some emails. Okay, but you didn't call. So we don't know. We're making a judgment. We're making an assumption, right? That she's not good at contacting strangers. We don't know. We're making a judgment that open houses don't work. We're making a judgment that mailers don't work. We're making a judgment that there's good leads and bad leads. We approach judgment and curiosity whenever we talk about, people and opinions of stuff, but we don't talk about that with the work. And, I bet you're judging the work. So maybe come with curiosity. Maybe have a curiosity to, wow, maybe if I spent 2 hours per day in some of those, cold calling, door knocking, open houses, FSBOs and expired, some of those methods that are tried and true and tested that, you give me each one of those and we can point to somebody who crushes it in it. Maybe we should have curiosity towards those things, right? And maybe we should spend some time throughout our day in the psychology. My coach, one of the, kind of called it a little hokey, but my coach had told me to gratitude journal every day. Write down, a little bit of affirmations, but I am a good realtor. This is a good market. I'm going to win. I'm unstoppable. But it's funny, it is hokey. I was like, what? And I went on and off with it. But it's funny that the more I do it, the more, you're programming, or in a sense, you're making your brain see those things and believe those things, so it doesn't mean that you have to go gratitude journaling and that's the ticket. It's not about that, but it's just, maybe Maybe some of your time should be in the pursuit of getting the 6 inches between your ears right. Maybe some of the time should be in the pursuit of going to, work out and take a walk and go to the gym, be in nature, do those things, right? And the last thing I'll leave you with, I think is some of the biggest, hacks to success. One of the biggest pro tips I could give you is we often hear work smarter, not harder, right? You've heard that. Work smarter, not harder. You believe that. Work smarter. I'm all about working smarter, not harder. Let's examine this. Is working smarter, not harder? Of course, we could think it's better leads and leads that just come in and just, or, automations so you don't have to work. But in my experience, people who are trying not to work, it doesn't work out too well. What if it was in the lens of during my 9 to 11 or my 9 to 12 in the morning, right? I'm going to do the uncomfortable stuff. I'm going to pick up the phone and call, what if you called, and there's, 60 minutes in an hour. Let's say we call a bunch of people and we can have, 3 conversations in an hour that last 10 minutes. So there's 30. So in the other 30, you've got, 1 call per minute. So 30 calls. This is very pessimistic. I know, because I do this regularly with my team. I call, I pick up the phone. So, but I'm looking at 32, 2 conversations in a half an hour, 30 dials in the other half an hour. If we do that times 3, it's about 100 calls a day with about, in that case, if you were having 2 conversations per hour, that would be 6 conversations. So imagine if you had 6 long conversations with 100 dials per day, 5 days a week. When's the last time you did that for a week? All 5 days, Monday through Friday. When's the last time you've done that for a month, right? So, work smarter, not harder might not just be in the automations or the magic pills. Maybe working smarter, not harder is being more efficient and effective with your time and what actually moves the needle. A good friend of mine challenged me with this. He said, imagine, we do this for our family, or we do this for this or that. Imagine if you had a body cam on you all day and you had to watch it and play it back to your family who you're doing this for, or whoever, or whatever you're doing this for, right? Or yourself, and you had to be proud, you had to sign your name on that day as a hard day's worth of work towards working toward whatever your dreams, hopes, and desires, why you do real estate. Imagine if you had that body cam on from 9 to 5 or whatever your hours are, right? Were you efficient and effective during those times? Were you executing, were you doing the needle moving activities, or were you doing the things that are comfortable? I'm not saying you are, I'm not saying you're not. It's just something that I've seen and observed, through a lot of agents that I've coached, whether it's on our team, outside of our team, and my own business as well. So takeaways from this: you've got the tech, you know what you need to do. You just need to get in the right frame of mind to do it. Whatever that looks like for you, health and fitness has never been a bad thing. Meditating, journaling, getting the 6 inches between the ears right. Do that and commit to that in conjunction with your business. And then with the time you have with your business, make sure it's doing the stuff that actually is going to move the needle. Your email doesn't necessarily generate new sales. And what I mean by that is, working the emails, that's somebody else's to-do list. So stay in the needle moving activities, work on the psychology, be efficient and effective with your time. That's truly working smarter, not harder. So I know this was a little bit of rah, but I think that I've found that's what really gets people to move the needle. I hope that was helpful for you. I know that for me, just being reminded of the things I already know is what I need more of. New information. There's plenty of information out there. You're on YouTube. YouTube has tons of information. I don't think information is the problem. The psychology is the problem. It's not that it's just a problem. It's something you need to continuously be in the pursuit of getting right. So hope that's helpful. Get out there and crush it, and we'll see you at the top.